Hello everyone, good morning, welcome to Dark Histories Yesterday Today. It's the 10th of April, it's Wednesday. We're getting there, slowly getting through the week. Today we're going to be going back to 1912 again, which will be the 108th anniversary of the Titanic's launch. So obviously you'd expect it all to have been to much fanfare, but the Daily Mail actually struggled with the headline. Titania's maiden trip. Titania, yep, you heard that right. So they got a typo right from the start. The White Star's Titanic, the largest ship in the world, left Southampton this afternoon on her maiden voyage trip to New York. That's it. That was the brouhaha. And I say, they got the name of the ship wrong in the headline for a start. One local paper had a little bit more on the story. Great crowds witnessed the departures today from Southampton of the Titanic to New York. The Titanic takes out nearly 1,300 passengers, including Mr. Ismay, head of the White Star Line, and Mr. W.T. Stead. The latter is going out at the invitation of Mr. Taft to address the peace conference in New York. The thing that I took from that was that I'm glad to know that James Cameron got the crowds right, at least. Because I always wondered, if that's just Hollywood being Hollywood and there was all this big crowd for the Titanic, or if it really did kind of launch to a fanfare. When I noticed that none of the papers were really talking about it, I did definitely start to wonder, but, obviously it was true. So the next piece is a really great piece that I found, and it's more about the day-to-day of the Titanic. And strangely, it was just in a small local paper rather than any of the national papers. But yeah. Here we go. Passengers on the Titanic, the largest vessel in the world, may enjoy a 2-mile stroll on deck. The White Star Liner Titanic, the largest vessel in the world, left Southampton today on her maiden transatlantic voyage to New York. She is a vessel of 46,328 tons and embodies the latest developments in shipbuilding skill. Although essentially similar in design and construction to her sister ship, the Olympic, she is an improvement in many respects. She possesses greater first-class stateroom accommodation, both on the top or boat deck and the upper promenade deck. The passenger on the Titanic may keep himself fit by exercise in the gymnasium or by a game in the squash racket court, proceeding to the Turkish electric or swimming baths, and then finish with a 2-mile stroll on the spacious decks, rising from one to the other by electric lifts. The millionaire can have a parlour suite consisting of 2 bedrooms, sitting room, private bath and servants' rooms, with a private promenade deck at a cost of £870. The steerage passenger can journey to the country of his hopes for the modest sum of £7.15, and at the same time have greater comforts than the first-class passenger had 30 years ago. The full complement of the Titanic is as follows: saloon passengers 750, second-class passengers 500, steerage passengers 1,100, crew 800, total 3,150. All the magnificent decorations of the Olympic have been repeated on the Titanic. The huge first-class dining saloon will accommodate 550 passengers at a time, while the reception room and the restaurant represent the last word in luxurious furnishing. There are, of course, many other lesser price suites, though the cost still runs into hundreds of pounds for the single voyage. While for those who only require a first-class berth, the lowest charge is £26 with meals, or £23 without meals. The provisioning of so big a vessel runs into considerable figures. In the busy summer and early autumn season, when Americans are either coming to or returning from Europe, the stores needed for each trip are approximately as follows: fresh meat, £75,000. Fresh eggs, £35,000. Poultry, £25,000. Potatoes, 40 tons. Fresh milk, 1,500 gallons. Fresh cream, 1,200 quarts. Sugar, 5 tons. Tea, 1,000 pounds. Flour, 250 barrels. Cereals, 10,000 pounds. Minerals, 12,000 bottles. Ale and stout, 15,000 dozen. Wines, 1,000 dozen. Chinaware, 25,000 pieces. Glass, 7,000 dozen. Electroplate, 26,000 dozen. Cutlery, 5,000 dozen. Plates and dishes, 21,000 dozen. For just a year, the Titanic will reign supreme as the largest vessel in the world. Then her pride of place will pass to the new ship, the Imperator, which the Hamburg American Line is building and expects to put into service in April or May next year. Her tonnage, in round figures, will be 50,000 to the Titanic's 46,328, and she would include parlour suites with private deck promenades, the latest lure for the multimillionaire amongst her attractions. The Cunard liner Aquitania, now building at Clydebank, Glasgow, is also a vessel of 50,000 tonnes. So I thought that was quite an interesting little piece about the small details of the Titanic's upkeep that you don't really hear. But worth noting is that price, the first class berth, which was absolutely extortionate, £870, is an insane amount of money. I think in today's money, it's not a direct conversion, but a conversion in terms of purchasing power, but as a purchasing power of about £100,000. Anyway,